Hi, I'm Randy Kirk, and all the talk right now in the Tesla world is about, will Tesla have to lower prices in order to maintain demand in 2023? Will they choose to cut back on production rather than cut price? I've already done a video on that. You can find that video and take a look at my thinking. And I think it was what Elon said last week on Twitter, is that no, he's going to go flat out to make as many cars as he can and sell as many cars as he can. And if he has to reduce prices, he will. Okay, that's great. I'm a marketer. I've been marketing products my entire career, developing, designing, putting products out to market, and then marketing them and finding ways to get them to sell through the chain, through the supply chain, selling them to wholesalers, selling them to import customers in other countries. So I have a lot of experience with trying to maintain or increase demand for products. Elon, if you're listening, I would come to work for you if you need a marketer to help you. But if you don't need me, at least maybe you should listen. Maybe these ideas you already have. I think you're the most amazing marketer I've ever paid any attention to. I think you're marketing genius, but maybe you're not thinking of some of these things. So for the next 3 videos, we're going to talk about options, alternatives. Now, I have even more in the book. So if you haven't bought the book yet, get out there and buy the Elon Musk mission. And I mentioned 12 different marketing approaches that can be taken other than lowering price. It's not just about lowering price. So today I'm going to talk about my favorite with regard to cars. I've talked about it on, I think, another video earlier, but I want to get into into more detail on it right now. I think that right now, if I was sitting in the driver's seat in the marketing department at Tesla, I would immediately begin to put together the most amazing fleet sales team that has ever been assembled. That would be my plan, okay? Fleet sales are less affected by the economy. I'll show you where some of those fleet sales are affected by the economy, but I'm going to suggest that for 2023, most fleet sales are not going to be affected by the economy. So this is a place where you can go that people are still going to need to buy tons and tons of cars. Number 2, at this point, you don't have to lower price in order to sell to fleets. The reason for that is that the cost advantage of having Teslas in your fleet compared to ICE cars is so obvious that you don't need a lower price in order to justify the purchase. Now, if you lower the price to everybody else, the fleet's going to say, hey, we want that lower price too. But if you haven't lowered the price, as was proven by Hertz last year, Hertz had to pay full price for their 100,000 cars. Other companies that are already buying in fleet situations are paying full price. So up until now, Tesla has allowed the fleet sales to come to them, as far as I know. Now, they may have a fleet sales manager. They may have somebody who has fleet sales as part of their responsibilities at Tesla. I have no idea about that. I have no way that I know of to even find out. But I don't think they have a massive fleet sales department. And this is what I'm suggesting that they need. This fleet sales department would then proactively go after fleet sales, as opposed to just letting the fleet sales come to them because the fleet manager has said, hey, we should look into a Tesla as a possibility. No, I want to go out and proactively attack that group of possible buyers. Now, there's 2 ways that you can go on that when you're hiring a sales team. And in particular, in this case, you could hire the top guys that are already out there. So you could hire them away from the competition. That may not be very hard. Going into a recession, a fleet sales manager may feel jeopardized. He may feel like his job is not on solid ground over at GM or Ford or BMW or some other company. So it may be that there's some top folks that are available right now that could be brought into Tesla in order to promote the fleet sales. Now, the advantages of using those existing guys is that they know where the bodies are buried, as we like to say in the trade. They know who the buyers are. They know the buyers' names and phone numbers and where their kids go to school and what team they follow and what they want for Christmas and all the rest of that kind of stuff. They already know that, and they can pick up the phone and call right now and talk to the guy that makes the decision, because that guy will answer the phone when this guy calls. So that's a huge advantage to hiring the existing top talent that's out there. In addition to that, they also know kind of what those folks expect. What do they expect in terms of a discount off of retail? What do they expect in terms of terms? All kinds of things that a new person would have to learn. So there's a couple of advantages to going that direction. The other option, of course, is to either entirely or in part hire people that are just amazing salespeople and sales managers. Two different things. Elon, if you're listening, I know you know this, but a sales manager is all about KPIs and all about hiring and training and managing the prima donnas anyway, I love salespeople. I am a salesperson, but they are drama queens and prima donnas, and it takes a special kind of sales manager to manage these sales types. So a sales manager, you need those that can be either existing top flight sales managers and then salespeople that could be existing top flight salespeople, or you hire people that are new. What you want there is incredible sales managers that may have managed sales for some large company, maybe in some other kind of situation where it's selling to the same kinds of customers that we'll be talking about. But anyway, that's the other way to go. And the benefit of that is you're training them in your world. They're not coming in with the baggage of having sold other automobiles, of selling in other environments where maybe they're giving away the store to get the sale, and you don't want them to give away the store. You want to impress them with the product quality and with the advantages in terms of the financial aspects. So hiring new folks has huge advantages. Hiring the best of those that are already in place, another different set of advantages. Now, if I were called today to become a sales manager, I believe I could hit the floor running within days. I would understand the situation. I would understand who I needed to hire. The hiring part would be the hardest part, would be finding all the folks that we need in order to do this. But a great sales manager should be able to hit the ground running. And a great salesperson also shouldn't take a week to find out the major bodies that would be in their territory, find out who they need to talk to, how the game is played in that industry. It should be really, really fast. So either way, kind of works. The other thing is, I wouldn't do this on a US basis. This would be a worldwide effort. Anywhere where I've already built out the infrastructure, any place that the charging stations are already up and they're already selling cars in that country, that would be a place I'd want a salesperson. And in each country, you're going to have all kinds of specific aspects to how business is done and to language barriers and all the rest. So I would be looking for a salesperson in every territory, maybe even multiple, as we'll talk about the different buyers. I would want a sales manager for Europe, a sales manager for China, maybe even a separate salesperson for Southeast Asia, and maybe even one more for Australia, New Zealand, and the Philippines, whatnot, and then a separate sales manager for the United States, and several salespeople under each of those sales managers. That's how I would lay it out. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the territory. So number one would be the rental car business. I don't think there will be much of a slowdown in international and national travel next year where people will need those rental cars. I think that this will continue to be a very much of a booming part of the economy. And the reason is the folks that travel. I am one, I can tell you. They don't like to not travel. They've already planned their travel. They already know where they're going next year. They've already set aside the funds. They already know where the funds are going to come from, or they will dig into their credit in order to continue to travel because they travel and they love to travel. So I don't think the economy this particular time around is going to affect the travel part of the business as much as it might affect others. That's a guess, and yeah, I could be completely wrong. But the folks in the fleet department over in these rental car businesses, they've got to change that fleet over. I owned a rental car company for a while. you try to change out your cars at about 70,000 miles today, 75,000 miles. You got to get them out of here. And 75,000 miles, that could be 2 years in rental cars. So you're always turning over the fleet. So that means that every rental car company in the world, the little ones and the middle-sized ones and the big ones, they're all changing out half of their fleet next year. They're not going to be able to not do that just because it's a recession. They're going to have to change out half their fleet. So that would be my number one goal, would be to get to those folks, and they're changing it. It's not, a long process. They are doing it every month. They're buying more cars and selling them in used car situations. They're constantly in flow. And so that would be my number one shot, would be to go after way more of these fleet sales through the rental car companies. Number two for me would be governments. Now there's an advantage and disadvantage to governments. The government fleets, now we're talking about city, community, county, state, federal, other countries, other cities, all over the world where Tesla already is doing business. All of these governments, small and large governments, they have to buy vehicles. They're buying police cars, and they're buying regular cars for the executives that they want to have a car. And they're buying cars for other purposes, for workers that get to specific job sites and whatnot. There's all kinds of reasons why governments purchase lots and lots and lots of cars. So the positive is it's completely recession proof. These governments are going to buy those cars pretty much regardless of the economy. The negative is that the process can be long. So if you start tomorrow and you start hiring these people, and they go in and they walk into the procurement office of the county of Riverside, where I live, the Tesla may not be on the bid list. The Tesla may have to be put through some paces in order to make the bid list. It may have to, I've had situations where I was selling the US Army, where the product we were selling, it had to be added to the bid list as a new category because they weren't even buying the category. So now you have to have somebody who knows how to write the specs in the way that is normally done, so that the spec will allow for competitive bidding and will allow that there could be at least one or two other people that would bid. We tried our best to write it so that nobody else could bid, but you need experts that know how to go in and redo the bid specs so that the Tesla automobiles would qualify. And then you need to make the bids. You need to follow the bid world, and then you need to make the bids as bids become available. And that can all be put on AI. It would be very easy, I think, for the engineers at Tesla to figure out how to put all of the bidding in the world on an AI program so that the bids just go out like that. But it might take weeks, months, maybe even years before some government agencies would get to the point of being able to buy Teslas. And then some of them wouldn't buy them. Tesla might win the bid in terms of its long-term cost analysis, but would lose because the window sticker this year is lower for this one, a million reasons. Okay. The government they don't make sense. The procurement departments of governments don't make sense. Is that a shock to you? I'm guessing some of you know that the government procurement offices don't always do things in a sensible way. So that would be my number two shot, would be governments. Number three would be corporate fleets. Yes, there will be some lessening of car purchases as staff is cut back. They won't need as many people. They won't need as many cars because they have less staff to go in those cars. So there will be some diminishing of the overall market in the corporate fleet world, but not totally. So there will be thousands, millions of cars sold to corporations for their sales teams and for service techs and every other kind of thing you can think of. So this will be another great place to go, much faster decision-making process. The corporate fleet buyers are all about the dollar, all about proving to management that they've made a smart decision. So these would be a great place to go after the first two. And then the next week, cab fleets. We've already seen that Tesla working through Hertz is offering the cars to Uber and Lyft drivers so that they can rent them by the week at a price that allows them to make money. And that's been extremely successful. So I see increasing that Uber and Lyft side, but there's also those who buy the cars for Uber when they're Uber and Lyft drivers. They literally buy the cars. And then cab companies, they have to turn over their cabs. They can't drive cabs for 200,000 miles. I don't even know in the cab industry what kind of the break is, but I'm guessing it isn't that much greater than the rental car companies. So they're always having to turn over those cars. So going out and talking to the cab companies, we know there are cab companies all around the world that have already switched part or all of their fleet over to Teslas. So today, that fleet business is coming by word of mouth. That fleet business is coming because somebody just goes, hey, we ought to look at Tesla. I'm saying, go proactive. I am only half serious about being the sales manager for Tesla's fleet sales or being the marketing manager for the entire company. The largest company that I've ever owned was only $5.5 million in sales. So it'll be quite a step up. But there is somebody out there who is the perfect candidate. And I'm saying that that's what Tesla should do instead of lowering prices. We'll talk about some other ideas along that line. If you like this content, please push the like button. It really helps. Subscribe. We've been getting lots and lots of subscribers since we started doing these raw videos, I like to call them. And then I'll have another video for you tomorrow, at least one, maybe two. Been great talking to you.